Hello guys, let's talk about lens adapters. Are they good? Are they bad? Why do you use them? Should you get them? Are they for you? Whatever. We're gonna answer all that in this video featuring my SIGMA MC11 lens adapter, which is the one I use personally. So why would anyone consider a lens adapter? Why would you even care to get a lens adapter? Well, simply put, a lens adapter, they all have the same kind of core working principle. They are round tubes that allow you to mount your lenses from a certain mount to a body of a different mount to the lens. So something like your Canon EF mount or your Nikon DX mount to your new Sony E-mount A7 III or your micro four thirds lens. So that's what all the adapters do. That's the fundamental aspects to it. And some adapters do have other features like enabling autofocus and enabling aperture control, and some don't. And that's just because there are different adapters out there for different uses and purposes and different price ranges. But that's the basic fundamental ideology of a lens adapter. So why would you get one of those? Well, if you're thinking of a lens adapter, chances are you're thinking of switching to a body of a different brand like Sony or Fujifilm. Okay, not really Fujifilm, they don't have adapters for their lens mount, but something like Sony or Panasonic or Olympus with their E-mounts or micro four thirds mount. If you're thinking of switching to a different brand and you want to keep using your old lenses, then you'll be looking at adapters. So what are the advantages? What are the disadvantages to using a lens adapter? Let's start off with the good stuff, the advantages. So first thing first is pretty obvious, it saves money. Okay, you can sell your old lenses and to buy new lenses, but no matter how well you took care of your old lenses, they're not going to sell at full price that you paid for them. So you're going to be losing money no matter what. And when you buy your new lenses, which if you want to match quality, like if you want to get pro grade new lenses on say an E-mount or micro four thirds, they're going to cost a whack ton as well. So overall you're going to be losing a lot of money as compared to an adapter where it's only a couple $100. You can use all your old lenses, say they're all Canon L lenses, they are pro grade, and you don't have to change a single thing and it works perfectly. So things like G Master lenses or Leica lenses for micro four thirds, those are so expensive, and while they are very good lenses, they're pro grade and they're designed for very high quality photos and videos, they are crazy expensive. They cost a fortune, and if say your company is not that geographic and they're not paying for your equipment, then chances are much better off saving that money and going with a lens adapter instead. And that's probably a huge reason why you would stick to getting a lens adapter and sticking with your old lenses. Now, apart from saving money, there is the fact that it saves time. That's another big advantage of using a lens adapter. It's very convenient. You don't have to go out, buy new lenses, research new lenses, do the whole thing all over again, buy this lens, buy that lens, or save up to buy that lens, and just build up your collection all over again. And just using an adapter allows you to bring your collection over to your new body, and that's freaking awesome. That's so convenient, saves so much time, saves so much goddamn effort. On top of that, adapters mean that you can use your old lenses, and old lenses mean you don't need to switch your workflow up. You know how the lenses work, you're familiar with it, you've invested a lot of time and effort with it, so you know what to do with it. There's nothing new to learn. You don't have to relearn your lenses. You know how they work, how they operate, how they look, what kind of shots they'll give you. And basically by using an adapter you save a lot of time because you don't have to switch up your workflow that much. Apart from that, stuff like rigs and follow focuses don't have to be set up again. You just need to switch out the body and things should be mostly alright because you're still using the same lenses, and that is an important part of using an adapter. They save money, and now they also save time because of that sweet convenience by basically keeping your workflow mostly the same, as close to what it was as possible. Another advantage of using an adapter is creative flexibility. Now this is not that major of an advantage because it's really not that important and not that many people will take advantage of it, but being able to use lens adapters basically gives you so much more flexibility in terms of the kind of shots you can get because you have a lot more lenses, and lenses determine how the final image comes out in the end product. So if you're shooting maybe a certain type of 50mm that's a vintage lens will look different from the standard 50mm that you can get on your E-mount camera. So by having the adapter, you have access to all these new lenses apart from the first party lenses that are of the right mount for your camera. By using an adapter, you can use so many different more lenses, and that is super awesome. It gives you flexibility, it gives you options, choices, it allows you to be creative, even more creative than you already were with your photos and videos. And another example is like the OM adapter to the Micro Four Thirds adapter. This allows you to use vintage Olympus mount glass with your Micro Four Thirds camera, so you can go around pretending like you're shooting film with that manual aperture and a sweet zoom, manual focus and stuff, and you'll feel awesome doing it. And also you get very unique photos because these are very vintage rustic lenses designed for film cameras being used on your digital camera, and that's a very big benefit of lens adapters. Now another advantage is that, say you're shooting with someone who's shooting on Canon and you've got an EF to E mount adapter and you're shooting on a Sony A7 III, you can share lenses. That's awesome. Like, yeah, that's a pretty sick thing in my personal opinion. Like, if you have a particular shot you want and you don't have the lens to do the job, you just ask for it from your friend and you can use it because of the adapter, and that gives you even more flexibility. And say you want to shoot with other people that you are partnering with, having this ability to share lenses and mix and match gives you even more options and even more flexibility and versatility in your setup. So that's a nice advantage of lens adapters. Of course, not everyone's going to actually take advantage of that last benefit because it's a bit more niche of a use, but it's still an advantage nevertheless. Let's talk about disadvantages, the things that suck with lens adapters. Okay, lens adapters don't suck that much, but there are stuff in there that aren't that great. Now, lens adapters are way better than what they used to be, because especially if you get decent ones like the SIGMA MC11 or the Metabone Speed Booster, those are very good lens adapters. I have the MC11 myself for a reason. But yeah, they've improved a lot, but there's still many disadvantages, and probably the biggest one that anyone would tell you is that autofocus sucks with adapters. Personally, I say that's not completely true. Autofocus is still actually really good on the higher end adapters with your lenses, but the thing is, it's just not as good as if you were to use a first party lens that was designed specifically for whatever mount you're using. The people who are making the adapter, Metabones or Sigma or whoever, they're not testing every single lens possible with every single body possible. They're not testing every combination, front to back, head to tail, side to side, left to right, up to down, north to south. Okay, I digress, but they're not testing the whole system as a whole. They're not testing every single possible combination. Autofocus is something that requires both the lens and camera to work very closely in synergy to actually be very pinpoint accurate and very fast. And if you use an adapter, you would know that autofocus is not as accurate, it's not as fast if you're shooting with an adapter. It's just the way things are, and that's kind of unfortunate. So if you're shooting sports, if you're shooting wildlife, don't use an adapter. The autofocus is just not good enough. Sell your lenses, save that money, get the new lenses for your mount because it's way better. It's a better investment overall. However, if you were, say, shooting in very desirable scenarios for autofocus to work optimally, so if you were shooting in very well-lit conditions like in a studio, you're shooting portraits in daylight, then adapters work perfectly if you think about it. If the autofocus doesn't have to struggle, the autofocus is going to perform well. If you put it in good conditions, it's going to perform well. So if you're shooting studio or portrait or product photography, or maybe if you're shooting video and you're using manual focus all the time, autofocus is not a concern for you, and this disadvantage is not as severe as if you were using it for like sports or wildlife photography. Another disadvantage of using a lens adapter is that the quality is not as good Sharpness and resolution is decreased when you use a lens adapter because you're not basically using it for the optimal condition. You're moving the lens to a spot where it's not exactly designed to be, because if you're using a DSLR lens, it's a lens designed to be put in front of a mirror, in front of a sensor with a certain distance. And if you're using an adapter, you have the sensor, you have the adapter, which might not be very precisely manufactured, and the lens. So the lens is not put in the exact correct situation it was designed for, and that will affect sharpness and resolution. Now, whether this is a big disadvantage is, it really depends. If you're shooting 42 megapixels with the A7R III, Nikon Z7, whatever, and you're shooting a picture that's super high res to print out on a billboard for advertising, or you're shooting 4K 10-bit 422 RAW, you're gonna be showing the video or the film on a big screen, film festival, then yeah, you might want to consider the drop in resolution. But if you're uploading a video to YouTube, you're shooting 24 megapixels with an average A7 III or something like that, and you're not going to be printing a 6-foot by 2-foot Apple commercial, then you should be fine. You're not going to notice the drop in resolution. And chances are, if you're shooting an Apple commercial with a camera, going to be able to afford the highest end lenses and the highest end bodies to work with each other anyway, and it shouldn't be a problem for you. Now, the third disadvantage is size. Now, I'm going to put two lenses on the screen. Now, they're actually the same lens with some fancy effects. I hope you guys enjoy that. They're the same lens, but one has an adapter, and clearly there is a huge size difference between them. One is much more bulkier, bigger, longer than the other, and that is not good, because if say you're shifting to mirrorless, to an E-mount lens or E-mount camera or a micro four thirds system, just to save on weight and size, just to put an adapter on it and then make the whole system big again, that is kind of counterintuitive and defeats the purpose of using an adapter in the first place. So don't use an adapter, because they are bulky. They are basically just compensating for the difference in flange distance between DSLRs and mirrorless, and basically an adapter is just kind of, especially for the DSLR kinds to mirrorless, is just compensating for the lack of a mirror. The final disadvantage is compatibility. This one is hit and miss, touch and go. It depends on what lenses you have, it depends on what body you have. This one relies on you doing research on whether your lenses work well with the adapter and the particular body you're getting. Compatibility is definitely an issue. As I said earlier, the lens adapter maker does not test everything front to back, head to tail. There is a chance that the lens you are planning to use with the adapter does not work well with your body, and that requires research. And on top of that, even if they work alright, they may not work desirably enough, and they might underperform severely. That you might as well have gotten new lenses and just sold your old lenses anyway. So that's definitely a consideration to take note of: compatibility issues. So why did I choose my adapter in particular, the SIGMA MC11? Well, I got an adapter because I'm shooting in a studio. I don't care about autofocus. I'll be shooting manual focus most of the time. And if I'm shooting A-roll, I am shooting with my kit lens, so it has perfect autofocus. And if I'm shooting with my adapted lenses, I'm shooting B-roll, doesn't require autofocus. And also if I'm shooting stills, I'll be shooting something like street photography. And I've seen reviews, face detect works perfectly still with the MC11 and Canon lenses, and it's not as fast as a first-party lens, I understand that, but it is fast enough for me because I'm not a pro photographer, so I'm definitely happy enough with the performance. I chose the MC11 as well over the Metabones alternative because I have Sigma lenses, and this adapter is actually specifically designed to work with the Sigma Contemporary Art Sport bunch of lenses, so they will actually work 100% perfectly like they were a Sony E-mount lens if you were using these lenses with this adapter with Sony bodies. And that is a super awesome feature, which means my 150 to 600 ultra zoom bird watching lens works perfectly with my Sony A7 III, and I think that is a beautiful thing. So yeah, those are the reasons why I chose the SIGMA MC11. Those are the reasons why you should or shouldn't get a lens adapter and use it as your main setup. Hope you guys found the video helpful and enjoyable. If you did, please like and subscribe. This is my 50,000 take of this video. It's been a very hard video to make for me for some reason. Follow me on Twitter for updates on this channel, and follow me on Instagram for some nice pretty pictures. Thanks for watching. Goodbye. It's 2 AM and I need to sleep. It's 2:30 actually, so yeah. Good night.